I've known this guy a long time, maybe longer than some of you have been alive.
It's been 30 years. Yeah.
And he's got a heart that's made out of gold. Okay. And to jump off on his point, his question to me was, so there you were.
Yeah.
Flatiron Partners with Fred Wilson, walked away from that. What a fucking asshole I am. Because I walked away, right?
Well, I mean, I think you did very well, but you didn't do the next cycle. You got off.
I got off. I got off the merry-go-round.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be clear, so the story is I was 38. How many people are approaching 40? All right. You're going to be okay. You're going to get through it. I promise you. I'm the old man. I'm the other side of the room. You're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I was 38. And then, at that point, I was, I often tell this story by citing New York Magazine, which called Fred and I the princes of New York. But now I'm going to change that story. I was the Jason Calacanis of my day.
No, you guys were a big deal.
We were hot.
Definitely.
And it seemed like everything that we touched turned to gold.
And it was not far from the truth. You had a string of close to a dozen investments that became unicorns, and you did it out of New York, a place where people laughed at that nobody would ever be able to do it from there.
Yep.
And you guys did it over and over and over again.
Right. And the more successful I got, the more miserable I became.
There it is.
Because one of the things that can happen is that you start to play for the audience. You start to get accolades and affirmation for how well you're doing. Hey, you're doing a great job. Fantastic. Keep doing what you're doing. But I don't like to do but keep doing it. Right? And as my 30s ticked on, I got to be around 38. And there's a seminal moment which I'll speak to now, and I detail all this more in my first book, Reboot, than in the new book, Reunion, in which I was, a big ass VC. I had a portfolio company in San Francisco, and I had to get on a plane and fly across the country and fire the CEO, and then get on a plane and fly all the way back, because that's what you were expected to do. And I got into the house after this incredibly exhausting day, and my then daughter, my daughter Emma, who was then 3 years old, she's now 31 and engaged to be married. Yay! Was at the top of the stairs, and I looked up at her, and I spun around, and as I was collapsing and going down, hitting my head on the bathroom door, I heard her say, "Mommy, Mommy, Daddy died." Oof. And I said to myself, what the am I doing? Who have I become? Prince of New York, the Jason Calacanis of my era. And I am never going to stop giving him.
Oh, God, it's so brutal.
Never.
It's so brutal.
Because as we said last night, that's what you do when you're from Brooklyn. That's how you show love when you're in Brooklyn.
Well, it's as a survival tech. People don't understand because what you do is you sit on the stoop.
Right.
And you just make fun of each other.
That's right.
And then you make fun of your moms and your brothers and your dad. And whoever cracks first, that's like
it.
losing. So you just break chops incessantly. But
incessantly.
So, but it's a joke. It's always good fun.
That was the beginning of what took about a year and a half of realization that this was not the life that I was meant to live. That didn't matter how successful I was, and I was pretty good. This is not what I was born to do. I went through 9/11, which kicked my ass emotionally. Fred and I wound down Flatiron Partners. He went on with Brad Burnham to start Union Square Ventures. I joined JP Morgan. If you ask him, he will tell you he threw me to the wolves at JP Morgan in order to get us out of the contract we had to them. I don't think he did that. I just felt I could not do it again. And I took this sort of interim step of joining a big $23 billion asset under management private equity firm. I did 4 or 5 more investments, and I was still miserable. And from that point, I was working at JP Morgan, and it was a few months after 9/11, February 2nd, 2002. And I was down at Ground Zero, which is what we called the pit, the place that was left over, when my old feelings of suicidal ideation came back. And to be clear, I had spent much of my childhood in depression. So when this came back, it came back with a vengeance. And I made the best decision of my life at that moment. I decided not to jump in front of that train. And anything good that I do in the world today stems from that moment, deciding that this was not going to the way it was going to end. Anyway, don't mean to bring you all too down. So that's how I left the venture capital business. I wandered in the desert for a few years. I had too many stupid board seats, 27 at one point at the same time, and eventually trained to become a coach. And I've been doing that now for 23 years.
Our friends at Corient provide wealth management services centered around you. Corient's goals are to exceed your expectations, simplify your life, and help you establish a legacy that lasts for generations. Corient has been helping high achievers just like you enjoy their lives more fully, preserve their wealth, and provide for the people, causes, and communities they care about. They're one of the largest integrated fee-only U.S. registered investment advisors, and Corient has deeply experienced teams in 23 strategic locations. Each team has extensive knowledge spanning the full spectrum of planning, investing, lending, and money management disciplines. The team at Corient put the collective power of their expertise into building you the custom wealth, investment, and family office solutions that can help you reach your holistic financial goals, no matter how complex they may be. Real wealth requires real solutions. For more information, speak with an advisor today at Corient.com. That's Corient.com.